So with the last two centers here, what we want to do is we want to divide it into segments. Here's green, so I know blue is going to be over here. So this is going to be blue here, and I suspect this is going to be white. So this is going to be the blue and white. And we have to divide this into actually different layered puzzles. We're going to do these layers here, solve these layers, and then just the layer above that next, the layer on the outside of that. So this is going to be like a 4x4 supercube with the centers. And the algorithm that's going to be used is going to, so this to here, this to here, and this to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start working on one side, really, before I do the other one. So I see that these two are here and they look just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move them down. This comes like this. So I'm going to move this up, like so. Double turn, and then move it down. Okay, so I notice I have these two here, and these two are in a solid state. So like I say, this is blue. Now this isn't exactly where it's supposed to be, but when I look at this, I see these two are where it's supposed to be also. So in actuality, this is probably going to end up facing like this, which is fine. So now what I'm going to do is, in the next move, I want to move this to here, and I can do that by doing this algorithm that moves this to here, and this to here twice. But actually what I'm going to do instead is take this and maybe move it down to here. This actually move it down to here, because that's where it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to focus on one side, really. Take this, move it to here. And I'm going to do that old school. So this is going to come down like so. Turn it over here. Bring this down like thus. And now start getting them back. This whips back over here. Bring this back up. There we go. Turn. And now this comes up. Okay. So the end result of that is these three are put in appropriately. So now, let's turn this just where it's supposed to be so I can get my perspective back a little bit. So yeah, this is here. And this is ultimately what it's going to look like. And now this needs to come into place. So I'm going to turn this upside down. And this is going to be the swing vote, as it were. So I'm going to move this like this. Okay. So this one is the only one that's going to move with this next algorithm, and I want to move this one up. So I'm going to turn this like so. Now what this algorithm is going to do is this will come up here and be solved, this will come down here, and this will come down here, thus putting these where they need to be. But do I have a problem? Well, let's see what happens when I do the algorithm. So I'm going to bring this up like thus with a R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, and L. And look what that did. Put these four in, and it put these four in. But let's not be too hasty, because I may have rotated one off by 90 degrees, and I wouldn't know if I've done that. This is one of those puzzles where you could possibly do that. So I'm going to line this up here, and let me just kind of demonstrate what I mean. Line this up over here. Now here's actually the question. We've gone over 4-layer parity supercube problems before, and at some point you may end up accidentally rotating one of these centers off by 90 degrees, and you wouldn't know that until the end unless you look at the corners. So my question is this such a puzzle? And it would be a puzzle like that if you had equivalencies of centers, because the only way one is going to be rotated off by 90 degrees is if you swapped two center pieces. And you're seeing two centers two different centers that have the same color, but are they interchangeable? And if the answer is no, then you don't have to worry about it. My suspicion is that that's not the case, but the only way to know for sure is to stop where I'm at right now with these last two centers and put in the corners. Because if you put in the corners and the corners make sense, then you know that you don't have a rotational even layer parity. So let's check that out. Let's use this as the bottom center over here, and let's just find corners to put it in. Now bear in mind, we don't want to lose our perspective here, but this corner is going to be a little red corner right over here. So right over here. So this has to come up to here. So turn, turn, turn. Now it doesn't matter to me if it's rotated right. I just want to put them in place. So what corner comes over here? Well, this corner is going to be a big triangular corner that has red, yellow, and green, which is here, red, yellow, and green. Again, it doesn't really matter to me if it's rotated correct, but just for the sake of perspective, to illustrate what I'm talking about, I will show you. So turn, turn, and turn. So you can see this corner is correct. So this corner is correct, this corner is correct. This one is going to be a little yellow one, which is right down here. And again, the reason that I'm doing this is the only way to know if this is rotated off by 90 degrees or any centers rotated off by 90 degrees is to see if we have an apparent parity with our corners. So this is in, and now which corner comes over here? It's got to be a little blue one. Made a little mistake there. So it's this one. I have to keep changing my perspective from a cube, from an axis cube to a regular cube. I have to solve it like a regular cube, lining the colors up like an axis cube. So you can see the axis cube portion is coming together, but I can't be fooled by that. So this corner is in, this and this is in, and this is the bottom side over here. So if I move this around, this is actually the true face over here. This is the true face. Now, why did I do that? Well, let's turn it upside down, and we're going to get our corners back in. If I turn it upside down, and this ends up to be the top part, let's see if the corners here make sense. Let's turn this where it's supposed to be. Eventually here, you see this white is by this white, orange is by this orange, and this green, you're going to have a little tail over here. But let's look and see where the corners are, and see if they're where they should be. This little white corner is where it should be, because eventually this whole face is going to be white, so this little white corner is where it's got to be. What has to be here is going to be a three-colored one, which is this, because it's going to be orange, blue, and white, and that's this. So this is incorrect, which means this is incorrect. And now the one that really tells is this. This little green corner here has to eventually come here, because this whole side is going to be green. What that tells me is that this configuration is correct. And if I wanted to, if I was so motivated, let's go ahead and whip these corners around just to show. Okay, green, so this is correct. You see this little orange one, that's correct. This is all going to be white, so that's correct. And this is correct, it's just rotated wrong. This blue end up here, this orange will end up here. So what that tells me is I'm safe. I'm okay. I predicted there would be no rotational parity, and there isn't any rotational parity. So now I am free to just keep moving on. So I've solved these centers here and these centers here. What I now have to do is I have to move out to these over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting in centers, putting in edges. So these center pieces, these two collectively are going to become like edges, and these are going to become corners. But each one is actually more treated as a corner. They're just not collectively in where they're supposed to be. Now I notice that these two are actually in together correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow on that, take a little bit of a shortcut, turn it over here, and let's just move this up to here. So move it in, double turn, and move this out. Okay, so it gave me a little bit of a head start over here. Not sure if that's going to serve any purpose, but what the heck. So now we're going to focus on the next layer here. If I were to do that with this would come up to here. So just like when I did my algorithm, it's the same algorithm, only this will come up to here, then this will come down to here, and this will come over to here. So same kind of thing, it just has to do with which layers I'm using. When I just use these two layers, I did it just like a 4x4. Now I'm going to be skewing the layers where it's going to be this and this. This is my new R, and this is my new L. So this is already in place. So if I turn this over here, The question is, what can be moved down to here? So once again, we're dealing with this layer over here, and I think this has to come over to here. So one more turn of this algorithm, this will come up over to here and actually possibly be in place. This will come here, and this will come over to here. Now, does this belong here, or does it belong here? Well, if we do the algorithm twice, then we'll find out eventually. So let's see what happens. So we're going to do R, UI, and this is going to be my L over here. So LI, U, RI, UI, and LI. And then this is just turned back to here. So now this probably belongs over here. This will come here, this will come down to here, and this will flip on over to here. So move this up. As you can see, this is here. So once again, R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, and LI. Okay, so we did a little bit of good. This is now over here. So we've got a couple that are in place. And move this down here now. Just like with the other one, I'm trying to get two adjacent ones that are in. This one isn't really going to work so good because they're opposite ones. So that's really not going to work so good. Unless I can get something in here. So once again, we're working on these. This one is in. So I'm actually going to turn this upside down now, because that way I only have to move one instead of two on the top part. So let's see what we've got. This one is in, and this one is in. If we can put one in here, then that would be good. It's not going to be this, and it might be this. So move it into position. This will come here. This will come here, and this will come here. So, yep, that's good. R, U, LI, UI, RI, UI, and L. For some reason, this cycle of movement seems to hit my perspective the most. So this is in, and this is in. So all of these are in, all but one. So I'm going to move the one that's not in place, which isn't this one, it's this one. This one probably belongs over here, and I'm going to move this up here so that I can place this where it's supposed to be over here, because then at least I'll have two that are in. So even if it's going to mess this one up. Kind of got myself into a trap with that one anyway. So turn, 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 down, across, and back. Okay, this turns up. So let's not lose perspective. Surrounding this, we've got these two that are in, and that's what I wanted. So I'm going to move this down. And now what needs to happen is I need to do a little bit of a shuffle here. This is in, this is in, this is in, this is not in. So what really should happen at this point is this is going to come up here, this is going to come over here, and this is going to come over here. And if all is right with the world, this one algorithm is going to place this one white one over to here, this blue one here, and this here, which is where everything should be. So move it up. So I'm just really predefining what my new L's and my new R's are, taking different layers. So this was my R, here's my L over here. Move it up, and now just reverse everything that I did. Once again, alignment is a challenge. Okay, not the movement, just the alignment. Only because it's a perspective bender. That's the whole issue with the axis cube. For many people, the axis cube was the first mod that they had, the first shapeshifter. And the thing that's difficult about it is it's a cube. It's a shape-shifting cube. It's not a different shape. Anyway, so this is in, this is in, this is in, and this is in. So now all of these are in, and all of these are in as well. Okay, yeah, I'll put this as my top area here. Put this into a position. So I'm going to do the algorithm twice to get this over to here. So this is going to be my new R. So we have R, U, now this is my new L, or Li in this case, Li, U, Ri, Ui, and Li. And this moves back, just like so. Okay, let's see what damage we did. So now this needs to go here, this will come here, and this will come way up over here, and pretty much solve this whole thing, solve this whole side. But let's see what happens if we do it anyway. So this comes up to here. Okay, so notice just at the side of this, these two are in, these two are in, and these two are in, we still have this one to go. So that's pretty good. 1, 2. If I angle it like this, this is the only one that's going to be participating here. These two are in and these two are in, we just have these guys, and I think we kind of got lucky with this. So turn this into place. And now one more algorithm will put this to here, and this to here. But if we do two more, this will end up here, this will end up here, and this will end up here. So we're going to do 2 turns of this algorithm. And one more, and we should have a pretty good amount of this done. So turn, 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 and turn, and as long as I have it all lined up, move it on down, and what do we think? Do we like it? So these two are in, these are in, these are in, these are in. Good, 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 and good. So these things that have been treated as corners with this algorithm are now collectively like edges. So we got that fine. Now all we have to do yet are these guys, and that's pretty easy. These are corner parts of the center, so we see what needs to be in. Is there anything that's actually in? And the answer is no, not as of yet. So this is going to come into here and be in. So this algorithm will take this and move it to here. This will come here, and this will slide over to here. So this is my new R. UI is always the same. And this is my new L, or Li. Turn, turn, make sure I'm lined up, and turn, and turn. Okay. So this is in, it's pretty good. None of these really got in. That kind of got the short straw there. And now we want to put this where it needs to be, which is over here. So I'm just going to plot that like so. And now the next one, we'll put this over to here, this will come here, this will come here. Not anywhere near where they need to be, so I can just turn it like this. This will come here, this will come here, and this will come here. So at least this orange will have a place to call its own. So, turn, 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 and down. And now we take inventory here. So R UI LI U RI UI and L. Okay, so this I believe is where it's supposed to be. I can turn it here and confirm, yes, we like it. So this is all fine over here, this is fine, so all but one is in over here, and all but two are in over here. So that we'll put this one squarely on the top, since there's just one that has to shuffle, and I can do a pretty easy 3-cycle here, and this should be it for my last two centers. And I don't have to worry about the even layer 90-degree parity. So this will come here, this will come here, and this will come here. Oh, we'll have to do twice. So two algorithms will move this here. This will end up over here. And this will end up over here. Okay, so two swings of that great algorithm. Turn, 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 down, across, and Shazam. Okay, we have one more, and all should be right with the world. R UI LI U RI UI and L. Okay, so I think we have it. We've got the last two centers. Now let's check it out. Let's line all these up and see if this is making consistent sense, that we didn't put things in that are not right. So as you can see, our centers are finally coming together and everything looks good. And now all we have to do is go to edge placement, edge reduction.